Hello guys, this is Lipe for runonce.com, and today I'm gonna be making part 3 of my moving up video series where I'm gonna be playing 100 and out today. I'm gonna start by 3-betting Queen 5 suited here versus a 3x open, and just 3-barreling here with my King High flush. So on this flop here, the way that I'm gonna build my range on the flop, this is a hand that is pretty much always gonna be on my c-betting range. And then I'll probably be check calling with some nut flush draws just because they have a little bit better showdown value. So like a hand like ace 7 of hearts, for example, is a hand that I might be more likely to check call the flop with, so that I can have some flushes in my check calling range. And then I could also be check raising um, something like combo draws like queen 9 of hearts or something like that, for example. Could be my check raising range, and so that way I can protect my checking range pretty well, because this is a board that's gonna hit his calling range quite well, and so I'm gonna have to check fold some hands, and so that's the way I'm gonna protect my checking range and build my checking range pretty much. So if it's a board that I'm not gonna be check folding much and I'm just gonna be c-betting most of my range, I'm probably not gonna be too worried about that kind of thing, that to like have flushes in my check calling range, my check raising range, and I might not even have a check raising range, for example, on some boards. So it depends a lot on board texture, but overall, the main concept here is that if it's a board that hits your opponent's range, pre-flop range, pretty well, and that you're not gonna be able to see bet too much, because you're gonna have to give up some hands that don't have equity, then you should be start you should start to worry about your checking range and protecting it and building it so that you're not check folding way too often when you check it, when you check the kind of board, and so you build a check calling range, a check raising range. And the reason why it's kind of important to have at least a couple of flushes in my check calling range is that way, if a flush hits, he can't just 3-barrel super liberally with thin value bets and bluffs and that kind of thing, and I can protect myself on those kinds of cards, and I can also develop bluffing range. Like for example, I can check call the flop with ace jack of hearts. I can check call with the ace of hearts and ace 8 with ace of hearts, for example, is a hand that I could check call, and then I could, like on a turn like this, I can check call again, and then on a blank river, I can check raise all in and balance the times that I do have the nuts. So yeah, that's kind of the way I'm gonna approach this kind of situation to be well protected. River here, I think I should have bet the turn here. The 4 isn't such a great card, and there's way too many draws, so I expect to get called somewhat often. But we can bluff a lot of rivers as well. Our range here is the one on the turn after he checks, is the one that is less capped, and that's gonna be able to hit most draws on the river. So I'm gonna be able to have a lot of good bluffing opportunities on some rivers, and we do have some immediate fold equity here, as well as the equity with the gutter and our possible two pair outs here. The jack and the 8 are often live cards. I'm gonna pause just for a little bit, guys, and I'll be right back. I'm back, guys. So the overall adjustments that we're gonna be making is that we're gonna start by playing a little bit tighter for most positions, just because we expect people to be defending their blinds a little bit better, as well as playing a little bit more aggressive in position, through betting a little bit more often, and that kind of thing. So we're gonna adjust by opening a little bit tighter for most positions. In comparison to the way we were playing at 25 and out. Like I would open this at 25 and out from the cutoff, and I'd be folding here. The field does seem to be a little bit softer than I expected it to. Just more fish in general than I thought there would be. And so we're not going to be making too drastic adjustments for now. Sevens is like the worst hand that I'm going to be 3-bet and 5-bet jamming here. Small blind versus button. Versus good rags. This guy's a friend of mine. He's a good rag, so he's going to be 4-betting with a good amount here. Fives here. I think I'm just going to check. I still don't know how people are defending their blinds here. And that's going to make a very big difference with my post-flop strategy when I'm on the button. Because some people could be defending 60% of hands versus a small pre-flop raise, and some people could be defending like 25% of hands. So it's going to be a pretty big difference, I think, on how we're going to play post-flop versus those two type of players. It's going to take fives to showdown. Ace-5 off is a hand that I sometimes like to 4-bet here. And I'm going to go for it. Just got to be aware when you're doing this kind of thing that you can't be doing it too often. Because like offsuit hands are way too many combos. So I have like 12 combos of ace-5 off here. So if I'm going to do it with ace-deuce through ace-5 offsuit, I'm going to have like 50 or like 48 bluffing combos in my range, and my range is going to be completely imbalanced. So I do like to, I mentioned that in a previous video, that I like to use suits to randomize my frequency. So like club is the #1 suit in my ranking. We call it couves in Brazil as a joke, and it's like the best suit by far. And so I'll do it with the ace of clubs, and that will keep my frequency a little bit lower, and I can use some other stuff that I like to 4-bet here, like king 9 off, and sometimes some suited stuff that will play well post flop. King jack, I'm gonna check raise here, and the suited stuff that I like to use here is usually king jack suited, so king 5 suited, for example, king 7 suited. King jack here, I think I'm gonna bet the pot. I like to bet big versus capped ranges, so once he checks back the turn and is representing pot controlling weakish range, I'm gonna apply pressure with big bets. Ace Jack, I'm just gonna bet fold here. With the Ace of Clubs, I might float, or maybe 3-bet the flop. With no club, I think it's a pretty easy fold. I'll flat the sevens. This is a hand that I'm gonna be betting the flop and then checking turn and river. I think, because I think he's gonna check call flop with some ace king and ace queen combos, and so we can get some value slash protection. I hate to fold versus this sizing, but out of position with queen 8 off here. I'm not sure, but I think I'm gonna fold. Ace is there, where I do like to flat and slow play sometimes, but I prefer to do it versus a small sizing. He made it 19. It's not so small that I'm gonna be wanting to flat call a bunch of stuff here out of position. So some people like to make it like 16 or 17 here, and I'm gonna have to flat a little bit more, getting better odds. And so I think it becomes a little bit more important to slow play aces once in a while and balance and protect my range with some deception. Deuces I just see bet the flop for protection pretty much. Make him fold all his Broadway combos like king queen and king jack and that kind of thing. On this river, given he might be a fish, because he's a gold star, I think I might be able to hero call because he's gonna have way too many missed draw combos. Like if he's calling 10-8 off pre-flop, for example, this is a pretty easy call. I'm gonna do it, and yeah, so because he's a gold star, and we're just gonna assume that, and it's 100 now. We're just gonna assume that he's not gonna be a regular, and so he's gonna have way too many missed draw combos on this river, and he's probably only gonna be value betting a 9, and he might check a 9 as well. So he can have all the spades. He can have hands like 10 jack, 10-8, jack 8, 8-6. 8-6 is a little bit more rare, and it's usually only going to be suited. So it's less combos, but hands like 10 jack, there's like 16 combos off it in his range. And when he uses that small sizing, we can call pretty easily, I think, with all of our bluff catchers. So another guy that looks to be a fish. So I'm gonna go ahead and barrel the turn again. Versus a good player, I think I'm gonna check the turn, and I might check call the flop as well. But versus a fish, he's just gonna continue to call with like ace 5 off and like king 7 suited, and just enough hands that I can be barreling for value with eights here. Ace 10, I am going to check all the flop and turn my hand into a bluff later. I think it's something that I like to do to mix it up a little bit because this is a board that I'm going to be having to check a lot of stuff and check calling a lot of stuff. And I'm usually using hands with good showdown value. I mean, I do have ace high here, but it's not going to be the best hand on the river too often. So I do like to take a hand like Queen 10 suited here, for example, and check all the flop instead of c-betting sometimes, so that I can have some bluffs when the turn goes check check and I lead the river. Nines is a flat here. I see some people three betting, and I think it's a pretty big mistake, especially being a little bit deeper. It's not gonna be playing well versus a four bet. It's not gonna be playing well when he gets called, or at least playing super well when he gets called. We're gonna have to pot control post flop every time we don't flop a set on some street. We have to bet a little bit small on this turn just because we don't have too many bluffs in our range. Once we call this board, we're gonna have a couple of floats with hands like King Queen of Diamonds, for example, but it's not gonna have be too many combos, so we can't be betting too big. And the same goes for the river. I should be betting smaller here, to be honest. But I think that people will be making enough mistakes at these stakes to be calling too much on the river. So with my range, I think that the best sizing would be to make it like 17 here on the river. Versus check raise, it's a pretty tough spot. Pretty tough spot. And I think I'm gonna have to call because I'm too much at the top of my range. Yeah. Folding here would be exploitative. Like on theory, I think I have to call. And so I would only fold if I would think that Villain wouldn't be bluffing enough. I didn't expect him to be bluffing a hand this week. And weak, I mean that isn't such a great bluff because the good bluffs here are the hands that are gonna have the ace of clubs pretty much. With this hand that is not really blocking anything, it doesn't make too much sense to be bluffing anything. So a hand that I would choose to bluff here in his shoes would be ace 10 with the ace of clubs, for example, would be my best bluffing hand, and the one that I would use pretty much 100% of the time. Yeah, it would be more than enough combos to balance the times that I have the nut flush. And then I would play this way on the turn with pretty much every ace X of clubs that isn't ace jack or better, or ace queen or better, maybe. Maybe I'll even check all ace jack, I don't know. And then I can check shove the river with all of those for value. And with the ace 10 off with the ace of clubs, and maybe ace jack with the ace of clubs as well as a bluff. The fact that I have the 9 of clubs here is a little bit relevant because I block hands like 9-10 of clubs, 9-8 of clubs, jack 9 of clubs, which all could play this way. So yeah, I think I can fold this hand on the river. I think I'm gonna go for a check raise on the river here. Just because I can't see too many hands that he can bluff catch with. Just because of how strong my range is. And but if he has if he has like king queen, he could be bluffing the river, or if he has a jack, he would probably just call my river lead, but he might bet call if I check raise. Yeah, aces is a hand that he could maybe find a hero calling river, but even aces, I think he should be folding pretty much always. Yeah, yeah, I think I have to check raise the river. I could consider leading the turn here, but I don't think I have enough 6x in my range. And it looks too much like a hand like the one I have, or like ace 10 or something like that. The only 6x combo that I have would be pocket sixes pretty much, which I might fold pre-flop as well. So yeah, I think I can't really lead the turn here. A check versus the small blind range, I'm just gonna check back. Just because the small blind range is usually too strong here. He's gonna have ace queen, which is gonna check call the flop a lot. He's gonna have medium pocket pairs, which is gonna check call the flop a lot. With the king of spades here, I think I can value bet. I mean, continuation bet. and I would bluff on high cards pretty often, as well as spades, just to make him fold his straight draws. You know, if he's a fish, he can have like 5-6 and 5-4 pre-flop. He can fold some 7x hands. Tens here after he checks back. I'm gonna bet pretty big on the turn. I think he'll call with ace highs with a diamond too often. And I think we should be betting pretty big because of that. To protect our hand and get some value. Queen deuce here. On this type of board, I think I'm just gonna give up with queen deuce. And take the hand to showdown. Once he checks this quickly on the river, I know that I'm pretty much never winning with queen high, but he's always gonna have ace high, but I can't really do anything about it. I'll flat king jack here. Possible fish in the small blind makes it more appealing to flat. And I think I'm gonna raise on this flop if he c-bets. It's a hand that I think is a good candidate to balance my sets here. Put him in a tough spot. Nines with this stack sizes, I'm just gonna 4-bet and get it in. Six nine suited versus the cutoff. I'm gonna go ahead and 3-bet. It's gonna be good for board coverage when we're this deep, so that our range can hit all types of boards well. Gonna make a small raise here with ace jack, just because with the line he took, I think he's gonna have ace king and ace queen most of the time. I think we can get him to call up to $32. he had an 8. Oh, actually, I saw the hand wrong. I thought he opened under the gun, and the flop went check check. Yeah, with the way the hand went, I'm not sure what to do on the river. Yeah, I have to just call here. He's gonna have way too many 8x combos. I thought he had raised an under gun, had flatted, and flop went check check, etc. But the way the hand went down, I should just call the river for sure. I think I'm gonna wrap up the video now, guys, and tell me if you have any suggestions. I know you guys prefer the theoretical videos on PowerPoint and that kind of thing over this live play videos, but they are a little bit harder to make, and they're also we don't have ideas. It's harder to come up with a good idea for a video like that. So that's why I don't make like all my videos on PowerPoint, and just because it's tough to come up with something good to talk about and a good topic for a video like that. So if you guys have any suggestions on something that you would like to me to cover on a PowerPoint type of video, you can tell me. So this hand here with the Ace King, if I'm playing higher, I'm definitely gonna play differently. Like, he shouldn't be leading the 9 very often here with too many bluffs, and so and my range is pretty strong. Once I check back, call turn, and bet this river, I can't really have any bluffs. So because of that, I just think that I might not value bet the river. Also because I might get check raised pretty often, given that I can't have a full house almost always. And so people might check raise me a lot, given my range is a little bit capped and his range isn't. That's it for today, guys. Like I said, if you have any suggestions on some theory videos you like me to make, post it on the threads and post any questions on the thread as well, and I'll answer it as usual. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.